Yeah.
Okay, so we get ready to go live. Anybody that wants to join us in broadcasting, which is the first, it's like 5 people. Do it in. Is that? Yeah, because he's going to do that back. So we're going live, and whatever format you're doing in 5, 4. I'm following you. So you take give me some of the clock. 3, 2. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yay, welcome to the first Sunday book banter of 2022.
All right.
So, hey everybody, I'm Kevin E. Taylor, manager of the Pride Center in Newark, New Jersey. And on Sundays, one Sunday a month, we do Sunday book banter. We bring an artist, an author, because we also spotlight artists in the space as well. We bring an author to talk about a new work. And with my good wellness walking buddy, Queen Tanya, AKA in the kitchen with Carter,
All right,
trying to get me to live right, walk right, be right, right? Said, I got somebody for you. She talked to me about Tesha Gary and her new book. How timely is this book, however? So meet Anxiety My Way.
All right.
A Black woman's journal to mental freedom.
Okay.
Come on.
So Tesha Gary, tell the people who you are so we can talk about what you've been through to get you to put this in writing.
I am a technology leader. I've been in technology for the past, my entire career, so for the past 30 years. And if you are familiar with technology and female and Black women, you can imagine the stress and the anxiety that comes along with the job.
Yeah.
And so, in addition to being a technology leader, I am a wife. I'm an amazing woman. And I am also a mother of a soon-to-be phenomenal basketball star.
All right.
Just so you know. Just
Okay.
remember I said that today.
Just swear and declare. Go ahead.
So, again, Anxiety My Way was a birth just because it was necessary for me. So it's just a journal just to show people how I cope with my anxiety.
And talk about, as a Black woman, as a Black professional, I was watching, there is a show on Amazon called Harlem. It deals with 4 Black women in their daily lives. And they had an episode called Strong Black Woman.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Let's talk about the trope of the strong Black woman, the weight of the strong Black woman, because what's beautiful is for you to say, well, if you know technology, which most of us don't, if you know the struggles of most Black women, if we're not Black women, we don't, right? So the mantle of walking into spaces like that, sometimes being the only woman, sometimes being the only Black. So you the double minority, double down with somebody who wants to ask you about stuff that impacting a majority of the populace.
Yes.
And all of that is on your shoulders. How did you first recognize anxiety?
Well, I didn't necessarily know what it was. I didn't know the name. I knew there was a feeling, but I didn't know what the feeling was. So I was also, growing up, I was also diagnosed with asthma. And so when you have asthma, you can't breathe, and it happens, during for different reasons, right? It could be seasonal, cold. But there were just times where I couldn't breathe. And I was relying on my inhaler constantly. And sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't. And finally, I decided to go to the doctor. And the doctor says, well, let's see. And I was to me, what I considered an asthma attack. That's what I thought it was. Mm-hmm. And that's when the doctor said, you're having an anxiety attack. I thought, okay. So I kept it to myself for a while. Nobody knew that I was suffering with anxiety. Everybody knew that I had asthma. So whenever I was short of breath or in a slight panic, I would take my inhaler out and I would use my inhaler. And it happened often because, as you mentioned, you don't know technology. So technology, I'm oftentimes the only female in the room. always. As an engineer, I'm oftentimes the only Black person in the room. And so the weight of that, trying to be seen and heard, trying to get people to understand your opinions or to hear your opinions has been...
People white-splaining and mansplaining.
Yes, or people taking your ideas in the same room. You know, you mention something and they just overlook you, and then somebody repeats your idea, and they
like it was
applaud them for it.
Right.
And so, you know, it's been happening in my entire career. And the weight of that, in addition to, you know, I grew up in Newark. This is my home. So my anxiety started when I was 13 years old. And I didn't realize that until I went to therapy, right? And you know, they take you back, you know. And so, but the PTSD of growing up in Newark, New Jersey, in the projects, in you know, the 80s, and the fear, the drugs, and what was happening in my house was not pretty. What do you call, what's the word? Parentification that was placed upon me, right? Because drugs was plagued in my house. And so when you think about anxiety, or my anxiety, and the base of it, and where it comes from all of that. And so...
A brother friend of mine once had a conversation about it, how Black people suffer from complex traumatic stress. Not, you know, not the one-time trigger.
Right.
That we live in a constant state of triggering. So before we delve into the book, so go to the doctor. The doctor, I'd like to unpack two things real quick. One is the cultural competency of your doctor to not dismiss a Black woman's medical concerns as just breathe. How did you get? Was your doctor a Black woman?
Black woman.
There you go.
A Black woman, a Black female doctor. Dr. Cynthia Page. I mean, that's her name. She took me into her office. This was outside of the exam room, and she said, "You're suffering with anxiety." And she was very holistic, and she gave me some things to do, and she also gave me a person's name to talk to. She said, "This is who I want you to see," which was another Black woman who, you know, went to therapy, and I started talking about my issues. So yes, it was just her talking to me and allowing me to cry, and just be in the moment with what was going on. Because once she said, "It's not your asthma," that was a reality check for me. Because, okay, so what do you mean it's not my asthma? That's been my fallback for years. What do you mean it's not my asthma? What do you mean? What do you mean this inhaler is
I'm
not
a
going to work?
superhero.
Yeah.
Were it not for this asthma, I could keep going.
And so she said, "It's not your asthma. You're having an anxiety attack. This is what I need you to do temporarily to help you get through it. This is who I need you to talk to."
So what did you do that first time you knew on the opposite side of Dr. Page that it was anxiety and not asthma, and you picked up your inhaler anyhow? Did you fake it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was because I really...
So
go ahead.
I didn't accept the diagnosis initially. Of course, I did not accept that. I thought, you know, I can't breathe. This inhaler works. That was just a moment in time, and I will move on. So it wasn't until I had an accident in 2017, a slip and fall, black ice. Simple, I mean, it's a simple thing, but it caused major damage. I ripped some ligaments inside. I had to have surgery. And every time it snowed, I would have an anxiety attack. And so we in Jersey, it's don't snow. And I thought, okay, I would look at my wife and she'd be like, "You okay?" There's nothing she could do. And I would be in full-blown panic attack 4 days before the snow, because you know the news is telling you it's coming. So I started going to the doctor more often because I was having asthma attacks more often. And so the doctor would constantly say, "It's not an asthma attack, Now you have post-traumatic stress because you fell,
Wow.
and it's sending you into an anxiety attack, and you need to go see this other doctor. And she gave me some medication. I did not take the medication either, just so you know. I down the toilet because I come from a family of addiction. I am afraid to take medication, anything that is controlling.
Wow.
So I've seen so much addiction.
Right.
I don't want to take anything that's going to alter my mental state. I don't take anything stronger than Motrin.
Okay. Wow. So, talk to me about this journey of shaping this PTSD, anxiety-induced trauma into treatment. How did you begin to work through the stuff to get to the space of mental freedom? Because it sounds like people understand these prisons. We understand the ways we run from diagnosis. We understand. And isn't it interesting that we can unpack certain things, right? So giving me my inhaler makes sense. The other medicine, I don't want that, right? You can see, I've seen people use the inhaler 10 times in an hour, but it ain't addictive.
Right.
Right. Grandma put that stuff under the arm because of that prednisone.
Exactly.
You know,
It's a steroid, right? It's a steroid.
But this ain't this.
Exactly.
Hand me my inhaler.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that as a fellow asthmatic.
Yes.
I understand.
No,
But
you
it's like
carry it. I don't
when your bottom jaw locks a little.
Yes.
So how did you shape all of that into actual activated treatment? Because some of us are addicted to our story, and the story is I got stuff, so I can't do nothing about it. So I'll just live in this space. You didn't.
So it's interesting. I finally decided to go and see the therapist that was recommended. Now I had actually gone to see a therapist in between, and it just wasn't a great connection, right? You have to kind of move on. But I still had the name and the telephone number of the recommended
Black woman.
black woman.
From the black woman.
From the black woman.
For the black woman.
For the black woman.
You knew it was going to do something.
And I knew. I you know, right? Just like, it's kind of like your friends. You know what friend to go to ask what question.
Wait.
You know what answer you're going to get. Homework, and I began writing, and once I began to read what I was writing, that was the eye opener. I began to read what I was writing, and I thought, okay, well, that's not my issue. I'm having anxiety about who? About the person in the third cube around the corner that maybe I'm coaching, and it's not really my issue. Or that's my brother's issue. That's not my issue. I'm having anxiety about his baby. That's not my issue. Or my daughter's playing basketball. She's nervous. Why am I nervous? I don't know how to play basketball. Right? So the little things that, and, in the snow, obviously I had to get over the ice and the snow and understand that it wasn't affecting me at that moment. Right? There were questions on how I got through just dealing with going outside when it was snowing and raining. And then, going into the boardroom or a meeting where I knew I was going to be the only female again and no one was going to listen to me. Learning how to get allies before the meeting, with other white male cisgender men saying, okay, this is what I'm going to say in the meeting. I need you to back me up. So just learning how to navigate helped me. But I learned that was the issue by writing it down, by journaling, because I didn't know that was the issue. I just thought I had it all together. I thought that I was carrying it, but that's all I was doing. I was carrying it. I wasn't processing it.
So when we go into this thing right here, I only want to look at it. The chapter that's way up there that you just articulated for me is eliminating the threat. How did you begin to do that work? Because folk who know me know that one of my favorite movies to quote almost as scripture is a stranger in the house. And the young lady gets her ass harassing phone call, calls the police, and the police tap the line, can't track it, and then they finally trap it. It's the young lady, get out of the house. The calls are coming from inside the house.
Yes.
How did you eliminate the threat?
Well, so again, writing, right? And understanding sometimes when you're the problem. Understanding, aiding and abetting, right? Providing too much support for people who are not supporting you.
Oh, say that. Say it. Look at her. Look at him right there, because he got tomorrow off and still gonna go to work.
So providing support for people who are not supporting you. Going into and working 14 hours at a job that's only paying you for 8. Right? Once I realized what the issue was, because again, it was writing down, it was the questions, it was the homework. That's how I realized who the stranger was and how I was able to eliminate the stress and the fear. Sometimes the stranger or the fear was another person, another thing, another project, another idea that was in my head that I needed to just kind of mellow out a bit, right? But sometimes it was me. And it was me allowing other people to make me feel like I had imposter syndrome.
Come on now.
People to make
Wait.
Come on.
Allowing other people to make me feel like I had imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You can't just school that.
So, oftentimes they use those are buzzwords, right? Imposter syndrome. And when you define it, you feel like to define imposter syndrome is you're in a space that you think that you don't belong. And so when they throw in corporate America, they use that word a lot. Because they use D&I and diversity and inclusion, and they use all these words. And I was the head of the Black professionals and the LGBT all at work, and so they use these words whenever we're having, visitors. And so I realized when I was in the room with my team as the leader, oftentimes I'm an engineer, but I'm the manager. So oftentimes when I was in the room, it wasn't that I felt like that I didn't belong in the room. It was you who feels like I don't belong in the room. And I'm sort of taking on that feeling, that vibe when I walk in. So I needed to change the way I processed that. I needed to change the way I showed up. And when I say the way I show up, I mean I needed to show up more, I would say, confident. Confident is the word. I'm confident in my work, and I'm confident in what I do. oftentimes I wasn't confident in how you would review me and my work.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I don't care
Ah,
about how you review
right.
my work.
Come on now.
Today, I don't care.
Come on.
Right? I don't care about it because I'm confident in
Mhm.
my work and I'm
Mhm.
leaning on that. I'm
Mhm.
leaning on the confidence in my work and my ability to do my work and my ability to present my work to you. And
Yes.
so now it's, the problem, if you have a problem with my work,
Mm-hmm.
it's your problem.
Exactly.
It's not mine.
Right.
It's not
Exactly.
my problem.
Unapologetically.
In engineering, there's designs, we can talk about certain things. Everything can be built a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm leading this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a problem with me leading it, then that's another conversation. That's a different conversation. If you don't have a problem with my work, or you have a problem with me leading it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're two different things. So it just took me a little while to figure out I'm not the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not, and I can't take on your opinion and your feelings about me.
You better say it.
Right.
That's
so I heard somebody say, what you think about me ain't none of my business.
It's none of my
Okay.
business.
You better
It's none
say
of my
it.
business. What you
Say
think
it.
about me is nothing.
None of my
Do
business.
you like my work?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I producing?
That.
That right there. Did you promote me?
Mhm.
Let's unpack why you promoted me. Was it for the skill
Or the thrill.
or the thrill?
I got a black woman in there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I mean, that's technology. Right?
Yeah. That's blank, right? That's technology, that's ministry, that's government.
Yeah.
So in here is, I think, one of the chapters, almost, I wish somebody would write the book, just write this as a chapter, and then we turn it and go on to the next chapter. No is a complete sentence.
Yes.
You talk about some power.
Yes.
When you say no, and then keep moving. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to
Yes.
justify it. You don't have to try to throw your credentials to remind them you're in need. I said,
Mhm.
no.
I said, and you know what? That's not even always at work. That's with family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Come on.
That's with.
Come on now.
Yes.
That word no is extremely powerful, and
Yes.
it took me a long time to realize the power in no,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that I didn't have to explain give a whole dissertation on why no
Come
is
on.
necessary, and I don't have to tell you. There's not a but.
Right.
Or an and.
Right.
Or a maybe. It's no. And so, no being a complete sentence for me, the reason why that comes full circle is really family, right? Family,
Mm-hmm.
and just to give some context around that, in my family, I'm the matriarch, and as young as I am, my parents are deceased. Both of my mom and my dad's side, their children are deceased, and I'm the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And that comes with a heavy burden.
Yes.
And the word no is important when you carry the weight of
Yes.
family and togetherness.
Mhm.
And so I've learned that no, even down to my 3-year-old nephew, he's the youngest, teaching him at this young age that no is okay. It's okay to be upset when I say no.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that understands no.
Gotcha. Right.
It's the 41-year-old that
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
You thought there's some room for negotiation.
Yes.
Remember, I mean, honestly, to look back on the weight of mama saying no, well, why not? Because I said so.
Right.
That was it. She
Right,
went back
right.
to stirring, back to flipping,
Mhm.
back to frying, and you dare not say anything else because the look when you tried to say something else was say something.
But we have to be careful. Now, I use the word no, and I've learned, so mentoring the young Black leaders that are coming into corporate America today, what I've learned is that they don't know how to have conversations with their leadership. And so part of the reason why they don't know how to have conversations with leadership is because They don't have conversations in their own houses with the head of the household.
Uh-oh.
Because we say
Uh-oh.
no, we kind of shut them down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned that the 22-year-old woman that, you know, from Spelman who feels empowered but comes into white corporate America that doesn't know quite how to speak to her leadership is because we didn't teach them how to properly
Mm-hmm.
speak to leadership and demand and just have a conversation versus it's different. You know, my daughter now, it's a balance. I have to say no, and I have to sort of give her a little bit of room for discussion because I also need her to be able to go back to her teacher and say, why did you give me this grade? Why do I have this grade? Why? We have to teach them how to communicate. And so no is a powerful statement, but we have to learn in our culture that with our children, because I'm seeing this with the 22 and 23-year-olds that are coming into corporate America who don't know how to question their own reviews, don't know how to speak to their managers, we have to teach them how to speak to leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the leaders in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we say no, sometimes it's no and, you know, don't come back to me with anything else. But sometimes it's no in a conversation so that they understand how to communicate to leadership. And the only leadership, the first leadership that they're aware of is in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is, and that's, I'm so grateful that so many people are live tonight capturing it because so much of the struggle, I received that there are young people who feel shut down, especially in families of color, because it can be so absolute with that. I'm trying to save you. I don't want you to have to do that. But there's also having to do the work to unpack the no with young people who can go down the rabbit hole of not knowing how to talk in the first place. Because everything, you know, we will have to deal with generations of young people who got a T-shirt for doing everything, a trophy for doing everything. And so some of them don't know how to question the boss because they don't know how to question because they've never, I get what I want. What do you mean?
Never failed.
Why didn't I get an A? Because you missed the question. That's not right. That's not right. It's not fair. They say this all the time. It's not fair. Sometimes the answer is no. Did I get it right? No. Now you want to unpack why you got it wrong? We can do that. We're not going to act like there's a sliding scale for the right answer.
They need to stop doing that. They don't even, if you lose, you don't get a trophy for losing.
Well,
Right.
You shouldn't get a trophy for losing, right? Let's just have a conversation about that.
And so some of that, let's go in the other direction and blame it on the alcohol. Why you?
Well, I mean, I like a glass of wine. I love a glass of wine. Actually, I like.
Yes, ma'am.
Yellow tail.
But what I realized very quickly is that I cannot have a glass of wine when I'm going through my anxiety.
Come on now.
I cannot do that. It sends me. So it gives this little rush, and then I'm worse than what I was. And I quickly realized that, well, not quickly, maybe about 3 drinks later. I realized that alcohol is not the way to treat your anxiety. It's definitely welcome in the house, but when I'm going through it, and anxiety doesn't. I just want to be clear about what anxiety looks like for everyone, because you know I talked about having an asthma attack and using my inhaler, but that's not always what anxiety looks like. I can go through an entire attack and you not really know that I'm going through the attack because I have what I would diagnose is maybe like high performing anxiety, and so I'm very hyper. Can't really sit down, breathing throughout.
Oh my God, I relate to her so much.
The task or the process of what I'm doing, and you know I've done everything throughout the day. And when I lay down, you know, I'm in my sleep, and I wake up 1 a.m. full-blown anxiety attack because I suppressed it sort of all day long. And I wake my wife up and I can't breathe, and we have to figure out what hospital we're going through tonight. Because an anxiety attack of that magnitude that I've suppressed will send you to the hospital.
Yes, it will.
And you have a heart attack.
Yes, it will.
And so alcohol, what I've learned is that I cannot drink alcohol when I'm having an anxiety attack or when I'm in that space. So, and I know that one could potentially develop because it will cause it to trigger for longer periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a highs and lows, I guess that's what alcohol does, right? So it mellows you out, and it makes me feel like almost psychotic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of just, you know, I want to clean up the whole house and then crash, and then I'm crying in depression, and
Yep.
you know. So I've learned that alcohol is not friendly to me when I am suffering through anxiety, and it could be anxiety also is not a one-day event.
That's right.
You know, I could go through an anxiety attack for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working my way through it, and it mimics everything. It mimics chest pain and acid reflux.
Uh-huh.
Right? They lie y'all walk around here with acid reflux.
Uh-huh. I'm
And
aware.
you gotta kind of think about what's actually going on in your life that's triggering the acid reflux.
Yes.
And then, you know, once I realize I'm suffering with acid reflux, I go, okay, all right, this is the stress. And then I start writing, I get to figure it out. I can see it on paper, and I go, there it is, because I can't figure it out in my head any other way. I can't figure out what's happening unless I see it on paper.
Yeah, there's something really powerful about the way you're unpacking this because, again, it's a journal. So at least breathing room to do the work because, this is our February Sunday book banter. And March's should be my work, self-ish. Get full of yourself without guilt.
Okay.
And it's just, it's the 7-step kind of steps of self-realization. And it's just kind of like one of those, oh wait, I do the work, I understand this, I know people, I engage. This should be one of my easiest works to write. And I was like, so let's talk about self-image. Boom. And the guy was like, so what do you think about yourself? What do you think about you? So, so as we do our 4.5 miles every morning in Branchwood Park, I was literally having to check on and check in what I thought about myself, what I see when I see. When people say, oh, you're looking good. Well, what did you think of me before I started walking? What did I think? And so each of the chapters, I got gut checked in this process. And so the book that I thought was going to take 2 months has taken 2 years.
Yes, the journal. Yes.
Yeah.
And so you said you started writing, but you didn't stop there. Color through it, huh? Who in 2022, some of us about to be excited and delighted to be able to go to AC Moore or Michael's is still here, AC Moore is gone, or somewhere and get you an intense set of pens or crayons or something to just, because you're going to have to color through it.
That's right.
There's some work in here. What made you, so most times the journal is the accompaniment to something else. So the journal's the main thing, and its accompaniment is a coloring book.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
You just playing with people's little kid inside. Come on, wherever you are.
coloring helps me relax. It helps me just kind of get into a mode where I'm focused on the picture, the colors, and I want to finish it. And in order to finish it, I have to focus. The task of it, and I want it to be beautiful. And so I color through it. So color through it is interesting because I love music. So that's another thing. I listen to music to help me relax from my anxiety.
Oh my Lord have mercy.
I love music.
That's my thing
And
too.
so if you look through color through it, I'll just
Please color through it. An anti-anxiety coloring book.
So if you look through color through it, I incorporated music. So all of the titles are song titles. And so it was meant to, when you're going through it, that maybe you would hum a little bit. As you're going through it. And when you hum, that's going to change your attitude.
See there?
You're going to relax out a little bit.
It is.
You're going to relax. And so, it was just something that I do. And the song titles are just songs that stranger in the house, as you can see. When you're having anxiety, there's a stranger there. And you have to kind of figure out, is it you or is it someone else? And so these song titles are important and they mean the world to me.
my favorite when those
Mhm.
because you are not alone.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
So questions? Because I know I have a good closing question. Jamel.
I have more of a statement because you are me and I am you. I have anxiety. I had my last anxiety attack about 2 days ago. On on top of
Not
that,
last, latest.
on top of that, I have bipolar disorder. I have PTSD. I also have adult ADD.
Mm.
And so what I had to do was in the beginning, I had to learn how to accept what it is I had. And I had to stop being ashamed of it. And once I learned how to accept it and stop being ashamed of it, I had to learn how to manage it. And praise God, I have my beautiful husband here because he helped me. You know, I was that kid that never said no to his parent, never said no to my mother. But then I realized that my parent was like pulling all these things out of me, and I wasn't being myself. I was being what she wanted me to be, you know. But then through talking to my husband, through therapy, coloring books, I have a lot of coloring books. Um, Today I stand before you and I manage it all. I'm dealing with a parent right now. My parent is dealing with early stages of dementia, and that is this has been it is one of the most. It's just hard. It is. It's hard. You know, when you deal with a parent that calls you every day and says, "I'm lonely," and you're dealing with your own mental issues. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm dealing with this parent that's saying, I'm lonely. Nobody ever comes to see me. And I'm like, Mom, I call you every day. You don't call me. You don't call me every day. And I'm like, yes, I do. I call you every day. You don't remember talking to me? I spoke to you an hour ago. And I get the calls every other hour. So in the midst of dealing with that, dealing with my marriage and dealing with myself, I have learned how to manage it. And I was like you, I didn't want to take the medication. I said, I'm not going to, this is my journey. This is the journey that God put me on. And so I had to accept it. Um, and so I've learned how to just manage me. And I learned how to put myself first before anything else. My mental health is the most important thing to me because it goes back to that old saying, can't nobody take care of me better than I can. Don't nobody know what I want more than I do.
You are.
And there's so many people, I'm sorry, there's so many people out here that are just enduring the anxiety
Yes.
and the mental health issues, and they're not doing anything about it because in the black family, we have been taught
Right,
that you're crazy.
Come on.
Yes.
right.
We've
Right,
been
you're
taught-
crazy, but you can't deal with crazy.
Right.
We've
Go
been
ahead.
taught to pray it away.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something. There was for a
I'm-
while I thought I wasn't praying right.
There it is.
Mhm.
So you're correct when you say we are one because everything that you just mentioned, every last thing that you just mentioned,
Mhm.
I have gone through.
Yeah.
My grandmother, I lost my mom in 2003, and from there I was responsible for my grandparents,
Mhm.
taking care of them, and one with Alzheimer's, and it was tough. My wife will tell you, it sent me and my wife to therapy.
Yeah.
Right, because it was tough.
Mhm.
And so I applaud you for just being able to talk about it today,
Mhm.
because emotionally, I'm not even sure. I mean, I had help me out, babe, because I think I had my anxiety. My last anxiety attack was 2 days ago. That's why I said,
Yeah,
well,
2
wait
days
a
ago.
minute, because we are definitely connected.
Yeah. I went to the car. I went to the car to get something. And I had to call Joseph and I said, Joseph, I can't make it up the stairs.
Yes.
And I had to just fall out on the couch. And I laid there on the couch in the dark until I could, you know, get myself together. And I got myself together and I said, I'm coming upstairs.
And
And I
that's such
did.
a powerful truth in that, because you know we will. It's either prayer or, like you said, that hard doctrine. You know, but the truth of get yourself together is, in fact, to acknowledge all the pieces and the parts and the struggle, and bring them into management. Y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. We're going up these stairs. Anxiety, pain, heartbreak, fear, doubt, joy. Upstairs is my husband. Upstairs is my home. All right, y'all. You know, and then that tailbone connected to your hip bone. You got to tell the whole body. We're going upstairs. All of it.
And you know what I had to do? I had to put myself on a pedestal. That's what I did. I put myself on a pedestal. I'm a king. I'm a king. We are the McCray-Kings. I put myself up on a pedestal. We all king. Y'all know we all kings and queens in God's kingdom. So I had to do that. I had to lift myself up because nobody else was going to do it but me. And when I did that, like my whole life changed.
Just real quick, I see.
I'm sorry.
No, not so. But a thing that we have to call a thing in this conversation is you said nobody can treat us like us.
Yeah.
Nobody. Well, but you know they said this thing they say now how you can use a cuss word. Somebody did a TikTok that was like, say a word one way that could be used a whole nother way with the same word. Can't nobody treat us like us.
Yeah.
Can't nobody treat us
like us.
Right? Ain't nobody. So like we have to be really quick to call a thing a thing and acknowledge. You know, sometimes Joseph has to be like, I'm leaving him to himself because whatever you're going through right now.
Oh, he be looking at me like I'm
of it.
crazy. He be looking at me like I'm
Of course
crazy.
he does. We were there.
First, I want to thank you so much. I'm definitely interested in purchasing both.
Me too.
Because I need that. I'm currently, just to identify a little bit, I hear my brother talk about how he has his wife. I'm in the process for the first time in my life of being with myself and the God of my understanding. Right? I come from a background of childhood trauma, childhood physical, mental, emotional abuse. I come from street trauma, emotional, physical abuse. I come from trauma of being an active addict turned into a recovering addict with relapses in my life because I could not understand what was going on here. Me too. ADD, adult ADHD. Me too. These are diagnoses though, right? That I'm not willing to claim. I claim victory over them, right? Because now it's just me and the God of my understanding. In my situation, I'm separated from a few people. I'm separated from my wife right now. We're going through some things. We're working it all out. God is going to work it out for our good. To God be the glory. I speak it into existence. But now it's just me and God, right? So yes, I go to prayer because I know there's a power greater than myself that's going to help restore my anxiety, that's going to help restore me to sanity, that's going to help restore me to well-being. How? Because I believe. Now I believe because you believe, right? I believe because I'm here, ordained to be here, was invited here because I needed to be here. I'm going to get the help that I need because of people like you who is telling your story.
Yes.
And I know now I'm not alone.
See there?
I was never alone.
See there?
But soon as I turned my way to the God of my understanding and put everybody else on the back burner and put myself first, I'm in a season of self-care. Because this is the first time in my life at the age of 51 that it's just been me and God. I went from a 23-year marriage to a relationship, to a ship, to another sinking ship, to an almost sinking ship.
You know, sometimes God,
You are not alone.
Sometimes God allows you to be by yourself so that you can get to know who He is.
Come on.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Sometimes God allows you to be by yourself so that you can get to know who He is. And it takes that.
Yes.
Right? It takes and you know, when I say by yourself, you might be by yourself in this moment. It could be by yourself for a whole day. There's sometimes when I'm home alone and I don't know why I'm home alone because my wife is with my daughter and they into sports and I'm not really there. And sometimes I want to be there, but I was meant to be alone today because I needed some space to do some mental things today, right? And so I've learned now that when I'm in situations to look at the benefit of the situation versus maybe what I would consider either the sadness or the the loss, right? Especially in corporate America. So once I realized that I wasn't the only Black female in corporate America that was facing anxiety, once I spoke about it and people said, me too, me too. That's when I realized, okay, we need to start talking a little bit more about mental health because, actually, when people ask me how you doing today, how's it going, how's it doing, and when when you're in corporate America, you see another Black person, you connect, connect with your eyes,
Yep.
connect with a smile, right? You see each other quite often, so you might, have tea or whatever it is. But when a person is not looking the same or is not
or walking the same.
Right.
You have to. Are you okay? Are you okay?
That's good.
Are you okay? And so I've learned that if I can't respond with "I'm the best version of me today that I can possibly be," then I'm not okay. Because most of the time that's my response. When you ask my goddaughter, "How you doing today?" I ask her all the time, "How you doing today?" How you doing, Godmommy? I'm the best version of me that I could possibly be today. Right? It may be better than yesterday, it may not be as good as tomorrow, but today. Right now, in this moment.
But and the power of that statement is not the need to explain to
That's
myself.
right.
I'm the best version.
I'm the best version.
Like
you're getting the best of me today. And so I think once I began to walk in that, and I only began to walk in it is because I say it. I respond to everyone with that statement. So now I walk in the statement because what does that best version of me look like today?
Right.
Still doing it.
Still doing it.
Wait, so Pastor Jerry, and then Dante, and then Jose, you'll get the last one.
Can you go in and monetize this?
Area, I don't believe I heard you mention as far as being connected with anxiety, and that's sleep.
Oh yeah. So I do
Interrupted sleep.
Not deep and authentic sleep, no beta, you don't beta sleep, you
know.
don't get the REM.
Yeah,
It's like, I can't go to bed early. Because if I go to bed too early, I'll be up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I will not get back to sleep. As a connection with, that's one connection I have not heard about anxiety, and that's the sleep piece.
So can we take Pastor Jerry, that's Pastor Jerry, but today, that's what I said.
Gary,
So can we unpack this real quick? Because you're in the world of technology, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 phones. Can we talk about anxiety and sleep as triggered by the pings and dings of our phones?
Absolutely.
Being on our
Sleep is
pillows?
so
and-
important.
Let's not talk about the pings and dings. Let's just talk about it being next to you
That's what I
at
mean,
night.
period.
It needs to be away. It needs to be out of the bedroom at night. So anxiety for me, I cannot go to sleep early. My wife will tell you, I cannot go to bed early. I try to relax myself early on, but it doesn't work for me. And when I get in the bed at night, honestly, I have to think about. I force myself to think about anything else, anything pleasant. I have a dog, and this is like my therapy dog, and my wife bought this dog for other reasons, but I promise you this is my therapy dog. Okay. And I use this dog in a way to help me just distract and think about other things. And so if the dog is down, the dog will not go to sleep until I go to sleep. And it's important to note that. And so I'm concerned now about the dog, so I go to sleep. So this is what helps me go to sleep. The dog understands my anxiety. The dog knows when I'm in a panic state. So the dog does not sleep in my room. The dog sleeps in my daughter's room. dog will not leave my room
Mhm.
until I'm like almost in a rested state.
Nice.
Hear the dog leave. And so I've learned this. I've had a dog for about 5 years now. I've learned this about the dog. Now my wife is probably just learning this because I'm speaking it now. But she knows that the dog, she doesn't even allow the dog in the room. But now the dog comes in the room and she's okay with it because she's sort of understanding that the dog is necessary in checking on me. And then the dog, goes into my daughter's room and leaves me when she's okay. And so
When you're okay.
when I'm okay, and I don't know sometimes what I would do without my pet dog. And as far as sleeping is concerned, I try. I have different mattresses because I thought it was a mattress. We just got a new mattress, but we just got one 2 years ago, and so I'm trying with sleep to make it work. I have medication, so when it's really bad, I have to take something to help me sleep.
Mhm.
I've learned there's something called Calm. It's like yeah.
Right, yeah.
So I use
I've heard
the
of it.
app, the Calm app.
Here's a trick for you. Because my brain is just always on.
Yes.
So I use my phone, I use technology to send myself messages, to send myself actual mandates. And so starting at 2 hours before I intend to go to bed, I turn off one light. So the room gradually, every half an hour, is just a little dimmer.
Okay.
And then at 10:10, I send myself a message that says, get in the bed.
Mhm.
Not go to bed, but get in the bed.
But it's
Wow.
the waking up in the middle of the night that's the problem, right? And so
Mhm.
2 a.m., 3 a.m., I'm just up
That's me.
and I'm up. And so I actually learned to read during that time because it helps me fall back to sleep. Unfortunately, that's what it does. So I've done some of my best reading at 3 a.m.
Mhm.
Wow.
because I know that if I read a chapter, I will relax myself. I'm trying to get into the words, right? I'm not just reading the words, I'm processing and understanding, and I'm in the story. And I try to read around 3 o'clock. And if I can't, then I get up. But I'm worried if I get up that the dog is going to get up. So
That's beautiful, though.
that it is
Yeah.
just what happens.
That's almost a trick of
Yeah.
mindfulness meditation.
Yes. So I understand, but I've learned to breathe through it at 3 a.m. I mean, I'll grab my wife and, she's okay. And I'm breathing through whatever is happening. Or also the bed. The bed is the electronic numbers up and down. So I'm adjusting all night.
I gotta get me one of those.
All night long. And that helps though.
Really?
The different
Because your brain is active.
brain
You
is-
find different things, your brain will.
different levels of
Elevation.
or leg elevation. This sort of helps the flow a little bit. So
Mhm.
I've learned to use what I have.
There you go. That's a word. Dante?
Which is why we've had so many beds trying to find
Oh.
I just had a quick question. Something you mentioned earlier about the anxiety and not having any time to pretty much deal with it because of the world around you and responsibilities and things like that. I want to know what advice would you give to anybody, youth or of any age, how to I guess prioritize it and show up for yourself, knowing that you still feel these feel this way. Not everyone has the luxury of just well, that's not a luxury, but can just be out of work or miss work or just call out and things like that, bills and things like that, or take care of your parents. What advice would you give for someone to show up for themselves when they need themselves the most?
So you have to find some time. And when I say time, I'm not saying take off work because I wouldn't take off work. Just so you know, I would not. Because that's just who I am. I should have, but I would not. Let me clarify that. I should have. There are many days I should take. 2 days ago when I was having a panic attack, I did not take off when I went to work. Partly now I'm smarter because I work in a hospital. I said, somebody's not supposed to see me today. And so, I thought I was having a heart attack. But when I worked in the city and I was having my anxiety, I learned to meditate on the phone. I learned to take some time out to space. And when I worked down exit 8A on the turnpike, there was the music then. So you kind of have to find it. You have to find that time. So if you're walking, you have your phone, you have to walk to work, or you have to take the bus to work. You have to find that time. So you have to change maybe your music, right? Maybe you have to listen to something that's going to help you meditate throughout your walk, or if you're on the bus, you have to listen to something that's going to help you count down to the time that you have to go into your work or your office. Because you don't, how are you going to be productive?
Right.
I find that I cannot be very productive when I'm going through it. I'm there. I'm going through the motions of work.
It's the zen.
The motions of work, but am I really being productive?
Right.
Yep.
And so I found when I'm going into work to New York, I would have to put on my headphones and I would listen to what I needed to listen to. Sometimes it's my own voice telling me. I made recordings telling me what I needed to hear for the day. Also, another thing I did with my passwords. All of my passwords are words of affirmation. So when I log into my computer, if it doesn't say "you got this," it might be hashed, right? It might not spelled out, but it's every password that I have is a phrase of affirmation. So I can't, every day I am telling myself, because I have to say it when I'm typing it in. You are the best. You are the best engineer. You can do it. All my passwords. So you have to kind of figure out ways that you can throw it in.
That's good.
Yes.
And we talk about that all the time. Some of the struggles that we have, especially as Black folk, people like to say people of color. Black folk got their own unique struggle. Some of this is that, right, anxiety, my way, a Black woman's journal to mental freedom. And we can hear meditation and we think it's, no, we don't make it. Sometimes meditation is a series of songs that meet you right in the morning time. I'm telling you, when we walk, we got DJ Spivey's Thank You soundtrack. We know we book in the right way when we hit a certain thing, and Mary goes into thank you, right into testify, right into Jesus will work it out. When we hit that corner like that, we hit it like, you know what I mean? It just, and there's time that, because what we have to be mindful of is the distraction, right? We'll take the anxiety from the house onto the bus and then get distracted by all of the stories on the bus instead of going, and now let's go to Aaliyah, Brandy, Natalie Cole. Let's go to a space that centers us. And it's almost like you could think about it almost cinematically. You're here, and what you're looking at is almost not here at all. You know what I mean? It's like if the soundtrack is right, people start sprouting flowers and birds start importing it. You're like, why am I so calm in the middle of this craziness? Because I'm all the calm I need. Yeah. We rely, because this scripted reality. You heard what I said? The scripted reality will make you think you're supposed to fight with somebody, and then after commercial break, go back and talk to them. I got to talk to my ex. I got to be nice. No, if I release you, I've released you. Not with any ugliness. I'm going to work because this job takes care of me. Now, it takes care of me. That doesn't make it my joy and my purpose. So if I would stop giving all of my time away to other people, I finish my job. Now I got time for my joy and my purpose. Now I got my coloring book. Now I should go there and get a couple of sketch pens. You start to choreograph a life that looks like the thing you want. Because the point that you made that started this is that so many things, and your question is we ask the universe, we ask God, like, how do I make myself the priority? You don't get to make nothing. You got to take it from the stuff you've been given. You've been giving yourself away to other people. Take it back. Don't get 24 hours in the day. You can beg and pray all you want. You ain't gonna get another hour from nowhere.
That's right.
Except from somewhere you gave it away.
Right.
It's
a complete sentence. Hang up.
Take your time back. Right? Think of it as currency. Once you give it away, it's done.
Say that again. Say that louder.
Think of it as currency. It's currency. Your time is the most important thing. When we work and we work on projects, and people say, and you work in a corporation, and people say, how much is this going to cost? The biggest cost is time. The It's time. It's not usually money. It's
Mhm.
time.
Yep.
How much time? And so once I learned to take back my time.
Come on, Maxine.
And so once you take back your time, and again, that's the time it takes you. I don't know your mode of transportation. I don't know how you get to and from work. But whatever it is, there's some time in there that's your time. You
Yeah.
need to take it back.
Yep.
Take back your time.
Yes. 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 Yes.
No, Jose got the floor. Yeah.
I think it was so brilliant the way you incorporated the coloring book with your story. Like it's like mind blowing to me because like your story is my story.
It's music. How you saw you talking about music?
And the music suit like you. The music suits you. When I find myself in, I do suffer from anxiety and PTSD and bipolar and depression. I go on and on and on and on. And I can identify with that. And when I was in the nursing home back in last February for 90 days, it was out of my control. And I'm like, I always wanted to be in control, and I was not in control.
Come on.
Mhm.
I was in control. And I'm like, how? I'm laying in this bed, I can't move, I can't do anything for myself. I was in a position where I was so depressed.
Mhm.
But I said, when those people came in my room, the people that the physical therapy people walked in my room, and they were like, you gotta get up
Mhm.
and move around.
Mhm.
The only way you're gonna start walking again,
You gotta start walking again.
That's right.
And the guy looked me square in the face and he said, I'm going to, you may not like me by the end of this process because I'm going to push you
Uh-huh.
to the limit.
Uh-huh.
And I said to myself, I surrender. Because that's all I could do.
Mhm.
And
Say that again.
I hated being because I said, this is like, this is my idea. But, you know, and I knew it was purpose of why I was there. Right. Towards the end of the 2 months, you know, I found myself being a person that was like fighting for other people. Like I was a advocate.
Yeah.
You know, my mother had the Alzheimer's and dementia, and I saw how she suffered, and it killed me inside, and I saw that how the seniors were just suffering
Mm-hmm.
because there was nobody coming up to speak, right? It's almost like they didn't have a voice. And I said, I promise you, as soon as I get into a wheelchair, I'm gonna roll myself downstairs and knock on the director's door and tell them something about themselves because, like, it was killing me. Because I saw my mother in those people's faces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said, I could barely fend for myself, and at least I could speak for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't, you know, and I said, I've got to speak up. I know I'm here for a reason.
Oh.
And then the coloring,
Yes.
with the keeping myself busy and putting that music on, by the end of the 3 months, I had all the senior citizens in the dining room.
Okay.
And now you know why you went in there.
It's
Mhm.
interesting how powerful we become when we realize we're not in control.
Yes.
We just become really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
When
Absolutely.
we realize that we relinquish that control to God.
Yes.
Once we realize that,
Absolutely.
the power comes.
Absolutely.
So you were kind of, because I was going to be the last, but you know you.
I just wanted to say that music is definitely a healer
Yes, it is.
of the mind, body.
Yes, it is.
So everybody say your song out loud, right? So let's leave with that. What is your song? What is your pick me back up song? What is your start the day off song? What is your instant change your mood song? What is that?
Love is the message, by the message.
Yeah, say your song. Just say your song.
Mine is Lettucey. It's
What?
all right.
It's all right. Somebody say your song.
Deliver me, Exodus.
There it is. Leandra Johnson. Somebody say it.
Mary J. Blige, My Life Just Fine.
Boom.
Mine's the greatest love of all.
There it is.
Sounds love, Tim Robertson.
Sounds of love. Take my right.
Smile.
Kirk Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stand.
Yeah.
John P. Key.
You know
So
what?
as we Tez,
You ain't playing.
I'm
Shit.
not supposed to be talking.
Tez, what's your song?
Song, Tez. Song, girl.
Let's hear it.
anybody ask you who I am?
Okay.
Tanya, what's your song?
Stand on his word, you were singers.
All right.
All right.
Yes.
What's your song?
Anything by Stevie Wonder.
There you
Ooh.
go.
Anything by Steve.
By Stevie. Anything.
So my song to anybody, it's like hosted by Natalie Cole. It will take me right to a place of peace and power. However, somebody say however.
However.
2022, my song is Good Morning Gorgeous. Mary J. Blige.
All right. Ooh. Yes.
Good morning,
Her
gorgeous.
new song. Yes, I love it. I love it.
My goal
Love
is
it.
to be butt naked when I say, literally, to peel off the layers of the, because sometimes we will try to present our best self
Right.
and then leave the rest self somewhere else. When I can do it with nothing on, nothing blocking, nothing stopping,
See, we're
then
talking about you.
realize as the good author said, how important your time is, right? So you don't have to get on the bus and fuss it with your headset. They walk with you all the way to the bus stop. Then you gotta walk into the bus stop song. Then you gotta brush your teeth song. You be like, well, you leave the house, you be like, oh, this is gonna be a good day. Who said so? I said so. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, are we excited and delighted?
Yes, we are.
Anxiety My Way, a Black woman's journal to mental freedom,
Yes.
accompanied with Color Through It,
Yes.
and anti-anxiety color and birth. She is
Yes.
Tesha Gary.
All right.
Our Sunday feature artist. That's Tesha. I'm sorry, Tes. Why can't I spell it? TESHAGARY.com is her website.
Okay.
Tesha Gary, go get it.
Okay.
Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. So can I ask you a question real quick before we sign off?
Yes.
Your IG is a mentor's mess. What is that? What is that? What is that? Listen, the honesty in it is audacious.
I mentor tons of young men and women, and I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect, and I just, my conversations with them, I just want them to know I'm not perfect. We're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a couple of years over you, and I've been through some things. I'm still going through
Some other things.
some other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to be really honest about that.
At a mentor's mess is her IG. TeshaGary.com is her website.
Okay.
Anxiety My Way, a Black woman's journal to mental freedom. Color Through It are this year's works. Get into it so you can come out of it.
That's right.
Thanks.
Come on.
All right.
Boom. Thank you. Yeah, that was